Welcome everyone. Today I'll be teaching you how to create a landscape material. This material is good because it will basically be the groundwork for every landscape you create. You can add to it, you can change things around, but realistically, it's gonna be a really solid foundation, and on top of it, it's gonna come with a handy dandy way of getting rid of grid lines. So if you'd want to create a nice blended landscape material that also includes displacement, you made it to the right place. So with that, let's get started. So hit Control Space, and then you are in the content browser, and I have this over here, mm_landscape, wonderfully named, thank you very much. And this is your landscape, or the landscape material that we're going to create. So the first thing you want to do is create a folder for it. You don't have to, but it's nice to stay organized. And let me just open it up and let everyone see what we're going to be making. Don't be scared. I know this looks like a lot. I just lost like half my viewers. But it is actually just going to be this. And then you just copy paste this stuff. It's really easy once you get used to it. Copy pasting is a pro when it comes to materials. So you have the landscape, you have the break materials, you have the landscape layer blend, and then you have one material solid right here. So let's go in and actually download our materials to start, and then we can jump in and build this. So go over to Window, click on Window, go to Quixel Bridge. I used this one, so Western, Desert Western Ground, Gravel Slate 01, Icelandic Rocky Ground, this one, and then Soil Ground. And if you're like, hey, Mr. Holt, why are you using 3 different colors? Do not worry, little birdie. I will help you out there. But yeah, so download these 3. And then we are ready to create our material. So you can do right-click, material. In this case, I'll do mm_landscape R2. And then you can open it up. Okay. Now that you have your landscape open, first thing you want to do is do Control Space and go over to Megascans, and then enter surfaces. And in this case, I'll just do this one since I know we're going to use this one, and drag and drop it. So we have our albedo or texture, normal, and then our packed maps over there. And then we are ready to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is do a break material attributes. And that is going to be our buddy to start. Next one is going to be a landscape layer blend. In this case, we can do 1, 2, 3. Leave it at that. We will be changing this later, but we don't need to do it right now. And then now we can get started on the fun part. So let's do a make material attributes. And then after that, we can do a desaturation node. Sorry, just moving my keyboard around. Zoom in. Let's do a desaturation node right here. And then we can do a 1- right there. And then we can also do a vector. Where are you? I swear I can remember so many things in this thing, but I always forget how to just get a simple vector, a constant vector. There we go. It's a constant vector, everyone. That's what we're looking for. So we can do our RGB, 1-, and then the vector can go into the 1-. Or apologies. The red can. Then we can do a multiply node. And the green can go into the multiply node. Let's move you back to get some space. Then we can do another multiply node. Also, sorry, the multiply node is an M-click. Very simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So just M-click it, and then now we can do these 2 together. Getting that full color control. And then we can change this one to base albedo tint. So we can just do constant or Oh, there we go. It showed up with just a V. Maybe I'm just blind. It's my problem. Oh, sorry. This is wrong. This goes in here. And then our power node. And now, boom, and boom. So now we can go to these and convert them to parameters since we can adjust them fully. First parameter is going to be named base albedo tint underscore albedo tint. Boom. And then this one is going to be called base albedo controls. Perfect. I'm going to move these down. I didn't change that number, no. Cool. And then finally, power can go into base color. Now, the next thing is going to be the normal. This one should be pretty straightforward. This one is just going to be a parameter node, which is an S-click if you're ever curious. And we can name this base underscore normal, Jesus, intensity. And then we can do a 1 minus, plug and play. And then we can do a flatten normal, plug into the flat normal, plug in the 1 minus. And then this can shoot all the way over to normal. And there we go on that one. Starting value for this one, by the way, is going to be a 1. And then if we go over here, we don't need to change the values, but the base albedo control should be white. So we do want to just make it a 1. So it should look like this. But when it comes to the tint, we can just name all of these 1. Cool. Now, this is a texture pack. If you don't know what this means, you will hear ARD be floating around quite often. ARD goes in the same direction as RGB. So ARD, I guess what red being A being ambient occlusion, R, so it's, I understand I'm doing a bad job explaining this, but ARD is the acronym that goes in the same direction as RGB. So ARD is ARD. So red is for A, G is for R, B is for D, A meaning ambient occlusion, R meaning roughness, and B meaning displacement. So red channel is ambient occlusion channel, green channel is the roughness channel, and blue is the man, my brain is not hanging out with me today. The displacement channel. So that's what these pack textures do. Very handy. So don't forget it, sirs and mans. I have I think 3 females that follow me. So we will represent as long as you are here. But yeah, we can get started on this one. So this one is going to be a power node to start. So we can just go over to power and get that out. And this will go a roughness. So our roughness can go power, and then we can do an S-click for a parameter node into the power. And then we need to multiply our power. So we can bring that in there as well. And then we love our parameters. Never forget our parameters. So I'm going to put that in there as well. And then this can shoot all the way up to roughness because this is our roughness channel. So zoop, whoa. Roughness. And then if we zoom in, let's change the names of these parameters. So this one is going to be base rough contrast. Nope, didn't mean to click that. There we go. Base underscore rough underscore contrast. Perfect. And then we can do the other one as base rough intensity. Now, if a lot of people are I understand it's roughness and I understand it's intensity, but why in the world is it base? It is because we are going to be grouping these when we copy it. So when we are using our material instances, it's much easier to use, which will make sense in a little bit. But that is why base, 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 and base are all in the language here. And then you can also just add a 1, not a 10. Don't add it. Don't add a 101 either. That's off to big things here. 1. Sweet. Super sweet. Okay. So now your package is close to being set up. We just need to plug in 2 more things. And for any geniuses in the room who want extra credit, that would be, yes, the ambient occlusion. And lastly, our displacement, which is my favorite part about this. Now, I would say in a perfect world, I would be adjusting the displacement very similarly to how I am currently adjusting the roughness. However, every single time I try and get it to work, it will not work, and it's driving me nuts. It's actually making me pretty mad. The only way I can get displacements to work is if I plug it directly in and then go into layer and then filter all the way through, and then I would then have to click on the name main material, go over displacement, and actually like change displacement here. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It annoys me, but it's just, it is what it is. Don't know why I can't adjust the displacement individually by parameter for each material. I don't know. And I swear some people can. So it's like I'm doing something wrong. So if you know what I'm doing wrong, please tell me on how to set it up. But it just won't work for me. So in this particular case, this material will work displacement wise, but it's just going to have to come as one lump sum right here. It will not come separately. And I have a feeling in landscape materials, that's just what you have to do for now. Whereas it works perfectly if I'm like creating my own like material for a, I don't know, a circle or a box or whatever. It just won't work for an actual landscape. So I don't know. Hate me or don't. Okay. Now the last thing we're going to do is, before we start putting this all together, is basically get rid of our grid lines. And this is a pretty simple process. A lot of people, I feel like, get intimidated by this. Do not. It is not as difficult as you think. So we can get started on that right away. So go over to your albedo over here. And the only thing you're going to have to do, I posted a beautiful video on this, is type in texture variation. There you go. And it's mainly just this big, beautiful node right here. So I am going to take the shifted UVs and plug it all in. And it would actually work just like this. However, we are going to add a little more to make it that just a little better. So the first thing, which is Landscape 101, is a texture coordinate. So let's do texture. All right, texture coordinate. Then we can do an S parameter, which is going to be our tiling. So we can call this base underscore tiling. Not bay. We should probably change that. And then we can go to multiply. Plug in. Make you a 1, or your landscape will never work. And you'll be like, what in the hell is going on? I did it once. It's never a good time. Plug into UV. The next one is going to be 2 parameter nodes. So S-click and S-click. If you're smart, throw stuff around, why don't we? The first one will just be, we're going off of these right here. So the first one is just going to be variation, or base variation. Base var underscore scale. And then this is going to be, nope. Base var levels. And then you do kind of want to write this out, because this material will be very handy going forward throughout your entire life, really. You can use this as a template. You can keep adding things to it. It'll be very handy. So I definitely suggest it. Actually, we can make this 0.2. That's what I used in my original. And then the last one is going to be a constant vector 2. And we just need the blue channel for this one, which can go straight into the mask channel. And then go to blue and click 1. And there we go. It's nice and blue. The last one we're going to want to do, actually, is take our variation, copy, paste. Didn't work. Copy, paste. That's what happens when you go from Mac to desktop all the damn time. And you're going to do convert to texture object, and then convert to parameter. And now you have a parameter texture object. And you can then plug this into the height map. So it is using the correct information for the height map. And with that, we are done. So now the last thing you're going to do is plug into the layer, and you'll want to change the layer names. And this is where the whole base might make sense, because we're going to name you our base layer, this one to be our mid layer, and this one to be our top layer. And then it can go into break material attributes, and we can go across. So we've got base color, roughness, normal, ambient occlusion, and then displacement to displacement, but we need to activate displacement. So if you click on the material and you scroll down, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's just use our brains and type in tessellation, T-E-S-S, and click enable. It will now be bright, which means it is now working, which also means if you go down to displacement, you can change this. I'm going to say off the bat, change magnitude probably down to 0.2. It's too much at 4. So now that that is all done, the next thing to do is to copy and paste. So just do one big copy and paste. Again, Mac to Windows is an annoying thing. Copy, paste, and paste. Boom. Oh, nope. Let's get the entire thing. Nope, again, the entire thing. Perfect. And then we can now plug you in and plug you in. Okay, so one last thing that's got to be very quick so you don't get lost. I do want to change this one from parameter to base underscore var height. That way we can change it. And then just explaining the group, we can now click on it, group it as base. Perfect. Let's go through all the parameters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are all going to be base. 1, 2, 3. It's not letting me do it, but these two will do it. Base. This actually doesn't need to be changed, so that doesn't matter. And then U3. Don't have a group. Okay, so that's everything. So that way, when you kick out the material instance, it'll all be grouped under the tab base, which is very handy. So when you're making these, now what you have to do is they'll all be in base 2. So you need to go through and just change the names of these to now mid, throughout, and then once they're mid, you're going to click on it and change it to mid, and then they will now have mid instead of base, and these will still be base. So go through your material, change all those settings, and then go to apply and save. Honestly, quick tip, if you just click save, it applies anyways, so clicking apply is kind of stupid. And then you are ready to go. Alrighty, so now that that is all done, we can now create a material instance. I'll just delete this last one. Click on the landscape, or sorry, click on the instance, click on the landscape. Pray that these stupid things go away, but see this little arrow? I'll wait till it goes away. See this little arrow? Click that arrow right next to landscape material. And then now you'll have this cool glossy material. Yeah. Now you want to go up to selection mode, top left, go down to landscape. And we're going to click on these little plus signs and go to weighted layer blend. And we can save that in the landscape folder. Weighted layer blend, landscape folder. Weighted layer blend, landscape folder. Now, if you made it this far in my video, you're probably like, hey, why is 3 layers of the same landscape? The cool part about this material and the way we set it up is if you double click, you can now enable these materials right here, all of them. And we can actually change the material. So now I'll go back in and we can add the other materials that we're using. One is the Western gravel. So we can click on the Western gravel and go 1, 2, 3, 3. And then we can go over to the mid layer. And this one's going to be soil ground. And we can do 1, 2, 3, 3. Save, close. And then now if I click right here, I can paint this one in. Now, the other thing that is going to be an issue, and I'll show you how to fix it later, but is also going to be the overall color of our scene. We're going to obviously want a different color so these all match. But truthfully, I don't even want this color either. It's all going to change. I want it to be all a little more bluish gray. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Right now, let's just paint in our scene. I think just having a nice time drawing here. Here. And then the last one we can do is go over here. And I know I want this to be a sandy plot right here. We can kind of just keep that up across like that. And then the mountains can be more painted. Now we can go over here. Click on our landscape material, minimize it, and we can make some value changes. So as you can see, I said we're going to get rid of the grid, but you can still pretty much see a grid, which is fair. So all we have to do is go into the variation scale and height, and you can kind of change these numbers around. See how now the grid is falling apart. It's no longer gridded as much. See how much it changes like that, and then all the way back to like having an obvious grid. So you can play with these numbers, variation height, levels, and the scale. Scale is going to be how big the scale of the actual texture that it's using to copy. And then the levels is how many times it's going to be doing it. So have fun messing around with that. The next one here, so this is what, 4 and 3. I'll make those changes with the other ones. So we can go over to mid, 4 and 3. That way nothing seems like it's repeating too much. 4 and 3. There we go. See, now there's like a lot less repeating. Like, don't get me wrong, there's obviously still a repeat, but when you're in your scene, it's pretty hard to catch a repeat when you're looking at it like this, which is why it's so very handy. And the other part to this is you can totally increase this till finding a repeat is pretty difficult. It does reduce the overall, I guess, quality of it. So be aware that there's a downside, but if you're doing it, it also means like if you need a large area to not have a pattern, then it kind of works in your favor. So now this large area doesn't have a pattern. And you'd only really use this if it was a large area you're trying to use. You could do a far less destructive, numbers to try and achieve it. So yeah, play around with it, get used to it. It's honestly incredibly handy. So yeah, that's probably some good knowledge for everyone to have. And then now you can make some other changes, normal intensity, roughness, contrast, all this different stuff. I think the last one that I'm going to do is probably the albedo. So to switch albedo, this is what is going to help us blend all these different colored materials. So we're going to go over to unlit. Unlit is because it is a lot easier to see and to color match in unlit, because lighting changes the way things are colored. So unlit is a very, very handy way of handling this. And I'll be using this throughout, since I'll be using a lot of assets that are different colored. So now I'm going to go over to albedo controls. And then I can change the color. So let me actually go back. All right, let's just do cancel. Let's go over to albedo controls. Albedo controls. This one's the red one. So we know it's red, so let's go in the opposite direction. So see how it's slowly blending in. It obviously stands out, but if we move over to blue, it's a little harder to see. I know now that, like, say this is a little greener than this, so you can go over to the green and kind of increase the amount of green or decrease it. Change this a bit. Click OK. Go down to saturation. Adjust brightness. And you can go back in. Okay. And then you can also open up the tint. Less blue, and now you can see it barely, but it's not the worst to have it stand out slightly against it. Let's see if maybe reducing the red. Maybe if we go down back to these controls and change the brightness, it seems like it's slightly brighter. And then now if we go over to lit, you can see how well blended it is versus what it was before. So now you can do the same thing with this middle texture. I'm going to change on the tint. It is definitely red, so we can reduce some red here. We can reduce the green a bit as well. Blue can go up. Brightness can reduce, but we do have to remember it is sand, so like having it to be the exact same as its surrounding is not necessary, but we can just try and key the overall color so it looks a lot more aligned with the atmosphere or with the rest of the scene. So now we just blended in all those colors. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys liked the tutorial. To check out the full tutorial, it'll be on my YouTube channel. It'll be called Planet Outpost if you want to create everything that I created or was going to create in this scene. If not, that also works. Please like, subscribe, and I'll check you guys on the next one.